I'm often when I tell my friends or when I tell my family about sort of what our program is, they say, "Well, I mean, any student should do something like that. That sounds amazing. You spend a
Hmm.
semester, you go to the big city, you get a great prestigious internship, you can take your classes, and what a great thing on your resume. All of it. Why wouldn't students do that?"
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Energy Arbitrage AI's podcasts. Today, I'm happy to have Ed Hasecke. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Is that how you pronounce it, Ed?
That's okay. Haseki, like I have a
Hasecke.
key. Yep.
Gotcha. Excellent, excellent. Edward Hasecke from the Lutheran College of Washington. Where are you calling us from today, Ed?
Yeah, I'm in Arlington, Virginia, which is just across the Potomac from DC, so very close. Yeah.
Very good, very good. I was looking through your website and researching and kind of figuring out some questions for you today, and noticed that Concordia College in Minnesota is one of your partner institutions.
Yes, Concordia is a great school. So we are the Lutheran College Washington semester because we were founded by schools that were traditionally founded by the Lutheran Church, and so Concordia is one of those,
Oh,
as
okay.
well as the 13 others that kind of make up our core consortium.
I see, I see. Well, it's funny. I had a podcast with Dallas Fossum. He's the director of facilities there.
Oh
So
yeah,
we had a podcast. Yeah. So I'll send you a link afterwards. But
that's fun.
shared some fascinating insights about energy efficiency, what the campus is doing, campus infrastructure. So we dove into that a bit. Yeah, it was, it's great to see how programs like yours connect students with schools, kind of during through innovative works. Anyway, so maybe before we dive in, how did you personally get involved in higher education, leadership, and student success?
Yeah. So I was a professor for 16 years at a college, Wittenberg University in Ohio, and a professor of political science for a long time.
Okay.
But throughout my career there, I really became much more attracted, largely through my students' participation in this program, but I became
Hmm.
much more interested in how education, sort of experiential education, is important to help students really connect what's happening in the classroom and build a lot of those durable skills they need when they are leaving college.
I
So I
see.
was Wittenberg's representative to this program for many years and sent lots of students here, and became a huge fan of that. And then when an opportunity came to become the dean and executive director, I applied and got the job.
That's great. That's great. So I mean, as we go through these podcasts, we're exploring how educators, administrators are building bridges between academia, government, and industry, and where innovation, sustainability, and technology are shaping that future. Maybe you can give us a quick overview of Lutheran College Washington Semester's program and
Yeah,
what's unique about it, right? The experimental, the learning.
yeah. So we
Yeah.
are. So we were founded and still are run and operated by a consortium of 13 liberal arts colleges from all across the country. So our furthest one away is California Lutheran, just outside of LA. Our closest one would be Gettysburg, in Pennsylvania, and then a lot in the Midwest. So those schools basically think of us like a study abroad program, but only in DC, with an internship as kind of the backbone of that experience. So
Mm.
students will come with to us and do an internship 4 days a week. They're really kind of full time while they're here, so they put in their long days. They get on their metro and head in and do their thing.
Hmm.
And then they take two classes in addition. So in the
Hmm.
evening, they'll come back and they'll come to our office and do classes after they do work. And then on
Hmm.
Fridays, we do our DC experience, which is a lot of programming that's really kind of living into the mission of our schools, which is to be able to connect their lives, their academic and professional lives, to seeing some sort of connection to their community and how to make a difference in the world. So we spend a lot of time getting to know DC as a city, DC's history, some of the challenges that it has, and ways that Students might see themselves connect either through like ways of civic engagement or through appreciation of cultural diversity, all kinds of things like that. So that's the main part of our program. I mean, I think really the thing that sticks out is that our program really does have them do much more in-depth internships than some of the
Mm.
other DC programs. But I also think that that Friday experience is really sets us apart. That is we do a lot of work on that on those days. We wear them out, but we think it's important to kind of know where you live and figure out how your personal and professional life can intersect with the world in which you live in.
Right, right. Just so you know, I'm based in Los Angeles, so very
Oh yeah,
close to yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So
Cal Lutheran. Yeah,
CLU's in
yeah,
Thousand
yeah,
Oaks. Yep.
yeah. Right, exactly.
Right. I
Yeah,
should. Over
I've
here,
I've
LA
I've driven
is
by.
one big thing. Where you are, it's all
Yeah,
the
right.
individual spots.
That Thousand Oaks, well, Cal Lutheran's about probably 45 minutes away from me, from where
Okay.
I live. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
roughly. But that is without traffic, just so you know.
Sure.
So
Right.
it's all matter of traffic. But so, as the executive director there, what's your day to day? Maybe you can give us an overview. I'm sure it changes, but just an idea and on, typically what's typical day to day
Yeah,
for
I mean,
you?
a lot of it right now has been kind of thinking about how, I mean, higher education's in a major uh, sort of moment right now where it's trying to figure out what it is, how it's fitting into society, how does it reorient itself. I think that shift towards experiential learning, the inclusion of internships, all of that has been a real change. So a lot of my day to day is partly, I mean, there's obviously just all the working of the organization and that kind of stuff and
Sure.
dealing with student issues and what have you. But the hard part of my job is figuring out, how do we fit within the mission of these schools and attract students to this opportunity and enable them to do it. Because I think one of the real challenges that we face is students are very book smart and they have a lot of great ideas.
Mhm.
But I think we're still feeling some of the hangover from COVID times
Mhm.
and some of the other stuff where that transition into work is hard. It's a
Mhm.
big shift, and we're really trying to make them do that. And so there's a lot of work they have to do for us, and in preparation to come here, and I think that can sometimes be a barrier. Small liberal arts schools also have, some enrollment challenges, and so some of that is making sure that we can be an asset to those schools, but that we have enough students to kind of keep the doors open. So,
Right. How many students do you typically have? That's a
yeah, so
sidebar
I
question.
mean, we would like to have 45 for the
I
semester.
see. I see
Um,
for the semester. Got
yeah,
it. Okay.
and so
Okay.
that would
Okay.
be each semester, and we're hovering in the low 30s basically.
I see right now. Okay. Well, how do you balance the academic side with cultivating partnerships across government and industry?
Yeah, the academics. I mean, we spend a lot of time on that, making sure that they're getting what they need to get credit back at their home institutions. I mean, we participate in our local chamber. We work with our community foundation. We try to really engage with the place that we're in. And so reaching out is really going to networking events and finding people. The advantage of DC is that it's just a huge networking town. So
Sure.
everyone
I've been
wants
there
to
a
know
few times. Yeah.
everyone. And,
Yeah.
you
Right.
know,
Right.
so that's the case. I mean, that one of our challenges, like with the government, it's a little bit more of a challenge, just because they have a lot of rules that they have to follow, and they have to make sure that they're not necessarily giving special consideration to anyone, but rather it's a very open and equitable process, and that can actually create some challenge for
Mhm.
students to navigate that process. And we're not as big. So there are some really big organizations in DC that do internships,
Mhm.
and they will actually get grants with the government, or they'll sign MOUs to supply whole programs their
Mhm.
interns. So we're that is a difficulty for us to
Mhm.
make sure that they can navigate that initial paperwork that's required.
Okay. Okay. What skills or outcomes do you hope that most of your students can walk away with after completing your program?
Yeah. Um, so we have a number of things. I mean, honestly, one of the biggest things, which is going to sound a little strange, is just their ability to survive on their own, to grow up.
Yeah.
So they live in apartments, they're commuting every day, they are
Right.
doing full-time jobs. So some of that, and they will say that this semester forces them to grow up in ways that they didn't have to grow up before this.
Right.
So
Right.
that is
Okay.
actually a big accomplishment. Uh, but I think it's a win for us when they go to work into their internships, and they learn the skills of, how do I work within the context of a team? How do I know when to ask a question and when not to ask a question? How much independence should I, do? Those are a lot of the real challenges that they face, which is, we're coming in and I have questions, but you can't bug your boss all the time, but you also can't get too far down the road and be doing something wrong.
Mm.
So knowing when to ask questions is hard for them. I mean, those are really the learning outcomes for us that would be generic to the program. And then we have things that are associated with that DC experience side of it. But those durable skills are what I think are the biggest take home points for them. It's, how do I work in an office? And that sounds completely crazy in a way, because all of us that have, sort of lived in an office for so long,
Right.
it
Right.
seems so natural.
Hmm.
But one of the tricks is, a lot of places are not in person 5 days a week. The ability to bring people on, and especially interns, people who are just trying to figure out how do these office spaces work, what is all this, what culture is in place here that I need to figure out, who are the people that I can talk to. It can be hard for them to pick up some of those things, especially when a couple of those days might just be exclusively online.
Right. 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 Well, switching gears a little bit, are you seeing more emphasis from partner institutions or employers on sustainability, data literacy, or technology integration?
We do, honestly, I wouldn't say that. So we're in a little bit of an interesting spot because all of the major data stuff that would be going on, or actually, it's hard for us as undergraduates to get students data related internships just
Mm.
because the federal government has so many protections around that there's a lot
No,
of
right.
limitations to their ability to engage. And so they do look for students that tend to have a little bit more guaranteed skill set. So that tends to be graduate level work. Um, but for the undergrads, yes, yes and no. I mean, I guess I wouldn't say that I've seen an increase in people wanting to make sure people can use AI, for example, or any of that. It doesn't feel like that has quite caught up in the demand for interns at this point.
Okay.
Although it seems like that has to be around the corner. That's got to be
Mm.
someplace that's
All
coming.
right. Okay. Okay. Well, what challenges have surfaced as the program continues to grow? Any, whether logistical, funding, or operational? Have you
Yeah,
seen
I mean,
anything
it's
like that?
largely enrollment. So it's
Mhm.
enrollment on the one hand, but then it's also access to internships. And
Okay.
that's mostly just because as as remote internships are a thing now,
Mhm.
in the past, we wouldn't be competing with some kid at Stanford who's going to do it all virtually from California, where it would only be the people who are here. And so that's been an interesting thing to see that competition virtually kind of open up. That's a trick. There has been an influx of schools that have set up campuses here, which is all also good for, I think, education, embracing experiential learning and all of those things. But as a program, that increased competition just makes it harder to, or not harder, but it just makes us work harder to get their internships. But in general, that's we solve that largely through networking and reaching out, and we have some established partners that we put students with a lot.
Okay. And now, how does do do how do energy costs or technology upgrades or facility constraints, did that affect the program in any way at all? I mean, I know you're more of a, you're looking more on internships, whatnot, but does that come into play at all?
I mean, we're so small, to be honest. I mean,
Right,
there's three of us that work here.
right,
So I
right, right,
wouldn't
right,
say
right.
that energy necessarily is the issue. I mean,
Gotcha.
cost of living is the issue.
Cost of living, right,
That would be so when we bring students from, especially the Midwest, the
right.
cost of living change is so different. The
Mm,
California folks don't see any real difference, but the Midwesterners, that would be our biggest barrier, I guess.
I
But
see.
yeah, to be honest, I don't see a lot of that, the
Okay.
stuff that you're talking about.
Then, in terms of your building, you guys, well, you have an office, or is everyone remote most of the time from the staff? Because typically, but
Yeah, so we are in, so there's an apartment building that we're in.
I see,
We own apartments. It's a co-op, so we own some of the apartments in the building, and
I
that's where the
see,
students end up living. And
I
then
see.
we have an office space that we renovated in the basement of the building.
Oh,
So
okay,
we kind of
okay.
have
Where
this
where
nice
you
little
go?
campus here.
I
Um,
see, I
I mean,
see.
the
But you,
building
but you
itself.
guys own the building, the university, the college owns the building.
No, we're tenants within it, so the building is big. We own we have 13 apartments, but the building is actually there's four buildings total in the complex, and
I see,
so there's hundreds of units. Yeah,
I see. Okay, 6 to 12 months from now, what does success look like for Washington semester program for your program?
yeah.
Yeah.
So 6 to 12 months. We in academia move pretty slow, so
All
six to
right.
12 months is
It's not
kind
it's
of
not a lot of
plotted
time.
out. I know what classes are going to happen, all that kind of stuff, but um,
Right.
what I'm hoping. We're doing a lot of initiatives to try to attract more students, and help them envision this as a possibility for them. One just as an aside, I mean, the people may be interested. One
Mm,
of the I'm often when I tell my friends or when I tell my family about sort of what our program is, they say, "Well, I mean, any student should do something like that. That sounds amazing. You spend a
mm,
semester, you go to the big city, you get a great prestigious internship, you can take your classes, and what a great thing on your resume. All of it. Why wouldn't students do that?" And there are just some interesting headwinds that are discouraging students from doing full-length semester programs in internships. And so, in that bridge between academia and sort of industry or government or what have you, I mean, I think everyone's having to think like, what are the experiences? What are the access points? And some of the reasons students are less likely to do it is one cost. I mean, so
mm,
students are spending a lot more to go to college, and so access to doing a semester away.
mm.
But the other interesting thing is so many of them are bringing in a lot of credits from high school. So when they do, the dual enrollment credits, that means that they're actually spending less time in college. So if you're only in college for 3 years, taking one semester to go somewhere else actually takes you away from a much larger percentage of the experience than before. So we're actually seeing a big push for students to do shorter term experiences. But that from an internship world is a little bit harder because you want to get them into the rhythm of things.
Mhm.
So we found, I mean, I think that's one of the challenges that we face. But I mean, ultimately, success for me is that we increase our enrollment and that we place those students in internships that fit their needs.
Okay, that's great. Now, like I told you in the start of the podcast, I mean, I spoke to Concordia College, and I've spoken to others as well. Many colleges are exploring AI-driven solutions to reduce costs and environmental impact and whatnot. That's kind of what the field I'm in with energy arbitrage. Do you, in your, as you talk to your, partner institutions, do you hear more and more of that? Is that something you engage in at all? Do you hear more of that
They don't
discussion
really engage
amongst your
me.
colleagues?
Yeah, they don't engage me very much in those conversations. So,
Okay, okay,
I mean,
okay,
I wish I could have more to say on that, but I don't
okay.
really have a lot. of
Gotcha.
connection with that. Yeah.
Gotcha. Understood. Well, I mean, it's been a kind of an insightful conversation. I love how your program connects students with the real world experiences, gets them ready, kind of for, like you said, the real world. I think that's great. And honestly, what can we hear more about your program? And can people connect with you online? Some of the listeners that are
Yeah.
interested
So
in your program? Yeah.
yeah, we're easy. We're washingtonsemester.org.
Okay.
So that's an easy website to find us. And we're always interested in, especially, schools that are interested in maybe partnering with us to have students come. But if there are companies in the DC area that are interested in interns, we have a great supply of really high quality students that are always looking for something. So we'd love to set up opportunities. We even do a little bit of fundraising where we can enter into a partnership where we will pay the student a stipend for them to
Hmm.
do the internship, um,
Hmm.
with a partnership with an organization that agrees to take our students. So that's another opportunity too if people are interested.
That's great. That's great. Well, and for our listeners from higher education or sustainability circles, check out energyarbitrageai.com and how we utilize AI to optimize and transform campus operations. Thank you again, Ed. Appreciate your conversation today. It was very insightful.
Thanks, Kevin. Great to talk to
All
you.
right. All right.